Hangout for Sugar Salvi Challenge. Today we are going to be making lettuce boats. So well, first of all, my name is Leslie Bryant. Might as well introduce myself first. And I'm the creative director for Independent and co-founder. With me is Kimberly Baxo. She is the editor-in-chief. Introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everybody. You want me to say?
Was awesome enough to teach us last week sugar-free vinaigrettes and salad dressings, which was pretty awesome. So today I'm going to teach you a really, really super simple recipe that was my gateway recipe when I started really investigating a sugar-free, real food life about 2 years ago. I was really intimidated when I first took on the sugar-free challenge, thinking that it was just going to be really hard to make a lot of food, not only taste good, but I thought it was going to take me forever in the kitchen. And that was really intimidating at first. And then I made this recipe, which was one of the original recipes. It's not published anymore through them, but through the 21-Day Sugar Detox. It was one of their original recipes that you actually can't find anymore. So I made a point to write it down when I did it, and I couldn't believe when I was doing it how easy it was and how really good it tasted. So it has stayed as a staple in our family for the past 2 years, and it's just really easy if you're sitting around going, I do not know what to make for dinner tonight, and if you've got ground beef or ground lamb or ground turkey, or Kimberly has a ground vegan protein today that she can explain a little bit more later. But it takes literally 5 minutes to make. It's really easy, and it's really delicious. And if you have kids, it kind of is like a sloppy Joe almost in a way. So kids like that. It can get a little messy, but it's really delicious, and there's a lot of ways that you can do your own variation on it. What we're going to start with, what I've got on my end, is I've got coconut oil for cooking, which I like to use the refined when I'm doing medium high to high heat cooking. Refined is a little bit more processed, but it stands up to medium high heat much better than unrefined or virgin coconut oil. So I've got 365 brand, there's Nutiva, there's Spectrum, there's a lot of different brands that you can get. And then we're going to be using yellow onion that you can dice up. Then there's also a clove of garlic that I'm going to be pressing as opposed to mincing, but you can do that as well if you are a whiz with the knife. I'm not, so that's why I used the garlic press. We're also going to be using some tomatoes for toppings. We're also going to be using, I just was really excited because they had organic heirloom tomatoes today, which it's not really tomato season, so I was kind of excited about that. And then we're going to be using avocados as a topping later on. And then when we're cooking things up, I've got salt, pepper, oregano, dried oregano, and then cumin, which I lived in Texas for 3 years and never cooked with cumin. Or avocado for that matter, and now I'm obsessed with both. So it just took me moving to Germany, oddly enough. So that's what we're going to be cooking with. And then, again, your protein. I have, it's not a lot because I'm just cooking it for myself, but 100% grass-fed, grass-finished local beef from a local farmer. And, yeah, that's what I have for that. Oh, and I use cast iron pan just because it's easy to clean for me. You've got to skillet, that'll be good too. Oh, and then the other thing that's really important to get is the vehicle to get this from your plate to your mouth is lettuce. So we've got, here I have just like green curly lettuce. You can also use romaine, which is what the original recipe calls for. I just saw this and thought it would be a little bit easier to maneuver, but romaine is perfectly fine, or like a bib lettuce, something like that. So that's what I've got. My lettuce, I pulled out some extra, like the outside big layers, and I've already washed those off. So that's what you can do to get started, is to wash it off in a colander and let it sit in the sink, just so it can drain a little bit. You can see it's still draining. Yep. So I'm just letting that sit and drain. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to heat the oil up. So if you've got everything kind of laid out, ready to go, you're measuring spoons and whatnot, we're going to use I'm doing a quarter of a full recipe. So depending on how many people you've got, I'm doing this for just one person. But if you want to make leftovers, whatnot, you can multiply this by 2. Or you can multiply it by 4 if you want to make it for 4 people, or leftovers for 2 people. So I'm going to be starting with a quarter of a tablespoon of coconut oil. So you can use, any fat of your choice, but coconut oil seems to be everyone's favorite. And we're going to be heating this up over medium hot or medium heat. So I just ballpark it. There's a lot of this recipe that's kind of like the marinara sauce. It's just kind of a ballpark. Do what feels right. Yeah. So while that is melting over medium heat, go ahead and chop up your onion. It's going to be diced. So you want to go ahead and chop that up. If you already have chopped it up, you are way ahead of the game, and I am impressed.
Is the garlic and the onion going to go in the pan at the same time?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm going to be lazy and just put it all in my food processor.
That's fine. I would suggest adding the garlic later. So
not at the same time.
Don't add it at the same time as the onions, because it takes longer to cook the onions than it takes to cook the garlic. And again, we don't want burnt garlic.
Okay. So then I'm just going to press my garlic too then.
Yeah, I would wait. It's killing me. All I hear is dinging in the background. Hold on a second. Kimberly, you guys have any pretty days in DC?
And it's hit or miss.
Oh my gosh, we're having I feel like it's 60-degree weather here. It's amazing.
No, it's not 60 degrees.
I don't think it's 60 here either. It just feels like 60 since it's been so cold recently.
Now we have some days that we have pretty blue sky, but it's been pretty cold.
Whoa.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Decided I wanted my onions a little more finely chopped.
What we're gonna do is we're gonna be cutting up the onions and sautéing the onions and the garlic, and then removing that from the pan and adding that to our proteins later. So, it's an FYI. Okay. My onions are done. Okay. Onions are done and oil is melted. So you can go ahead and put your onions in. Let those start cooking up.
You spoke, Leslie, and the sun came out.
What?
You spoke and the sun came out.
Oh, I tend to have that effect. Okay. You're just going to kind of saute the onions until they start getting a little transparent and fragrant.
Okay.
Again, it's all kind of by eye. So if you're making a whole dish for 4 people, like a full recipe would be 1 whole onion. But I'm doing 1/4 of an onion. So.
Yeah, I'm making a full recipe.
It's not 1/4 of an onion when you use those tiny little pearl onions, which is what I'm doing. So I use 3 little tiny pearl onions. You know, super, super easy. So my my onion's starting to look kind of transparent. So I'm gonna start adding the garlic, which I put in my garlic press. And which, if you do not own a garlic press yet, this is a lifesaver. Because mincing garlic is not fun. So, anywho, just press it in. And I use 1 clove garlic. So, if you are making this for 4 people, a full recipe, you would use 4 garlic cloves. Or, you know, do that if you really like garlic. Huh?
My onions need a little bit longer.
Okay, that's fine.
You and your gas stove.
I know, I'm sorry.
I'm going to complain about that every single time.
Telling you forever. Not just a gas stove. Don't just get a gas stove. Get a gas oven. This has been a life changer. I love it. I didn't even know they made gas ovens. But they do, and they're great.
Someday, in my forever home.
Forever Home. I know, it's Forever Home Play. Actually, I have a document in Google Docs that's like the Forever Home yes, Forever Home no. So it's like, yes to wood in the kitchen on the floor, no to light grout in the kitchen. Yes to heated floors in the bathrooms. No to teeny tiny water heater that makes it so you can't even take a bath in your gigantic bathtub. Which was the story of our life in Germany.
Yeah.
We had this huge, huge, awesome bathtub, but you couldn't fill it up with hot water because our water heater was smaller than this island. Like, it was this tiny little water heater that gave you about 15 minutes of hot water, and then it was all cold from there.
Wow, they're very economical.
That's just cruel and unusual punishment, especially when it's snowing there and it's cold, and all you just want is a nice hot shower. Good heavens. Okay, so when your onions look cooked, you're probably going to cook them for about 5 minutes. But I just keep an eye on them once they become transparent, and before the garlic begins to brown, but the garlic starts to be fragrant. So what I'm going to do, once your onions are done, you're going to take them and remove them from your pan and set them aside. So I've just got like a tiny little bowl that I'm putting my onions in. You just want to cook them down so they're not hard and everything just tastes yummy. And
So you're going to cook your meat and then add the onions and garlic after? Is that? Yeah. Okay. I think I'm going to do mine a little bit differently. I'm using a mixture of lentils and walnuts.
Okay.
So I'm going to leave my onions and garlic in the pan so that I can get some flavor into the lentils.
Okay, makes complete sense. Yeah. Okay. So again, if you're doing vegetarian or vegan version of this, just follow Kimberly from this step when it comes to the protein. So I am letting the onions cool down because I don't want to cook them any further. So now what I'm going to do is I turn my heat off just for the moment because my pan's going to stay hot. I just am nervous with an open flame and nothing actually in the pot or pan. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to add the cumin, the oregano, and the salt and pepper. So what we are going to be using is 1/8 of a teaspoon. So ridiculous. 1/8 of a teaspoon cumin. Okay. So for me, I'm almost really tempted just to use 1/4 of a teaspoon just because I love it so much, but I'm not going to. So 1/8 of a teaspoon if you're doing 1/4 of a recipe. 1/2 a teaspoon if you're doing a whole recipe. And then 1/4 of a teaspoon oregano. So wipe that off. Add that all to your protein. And then salt and pepper to taste. So do whatever you want. I just kind of do 2 little turns of the grinder and it's good for me. Now, if you are not comfortable with raw meat and your bare hands, then you can use a spoon for this. I'm not uncomfortable with meat, so I'm just going to use my hands. I'm going to wash them off real quick, and then I'm going to use my hands to make sure everything is well incorporated together. But I know some people are still squirmish around raw meat, even though they eat meat. So do whatever works for you. But for me, I'm just going to do this. I mean, really just kind of mashing it all together. Kimberly, are you just adding to the pan and kind of going?
Yeah, so what I've got is I've already cooked a cup of lentils and it made about 20 ounces cooked. Okay. So it's a little bit more than a pound, but that doesn't bother me. I just have even measurement. And then I have a cup of toasted walnuts that I've pretty finely chopped.
Okay, cool.
Then I just mix that with the onions and the garlic and all the spices, and it makes a really nice filling for these boats, or even a taco filling, or anything like that.
And that's going to be perfect too, because like if you have a recipe that you use as like a taco filling that's clean and sugar-free, then that would be perfect for this too, because it is just kind of like a I don't like the word, but it's like a deconstructed taco, kind of. As in, it's just so fluid, you can do whatever you want with it. So, yeah. So once you're done mixing everything up, I inadvertently made a gigantic meatball, but it doesn't matter because it's not going to cook like that. And then once you're done mixing that in, you're also going to add your cooled onions. So they should be they're still going to be warm, but they're not going to be hot. So you're going to add those to your meat also. So make sure to mix those in, And again, it is going to be a little warm. So if you're using a spoon, you should be good. But if you're using your hands, you're going to put your hand in there and be like, oh, it's a little warm. It's okay. You're not going to burn your hand or anything. It's just a little. So it might not mix in all the way. Like the onions, but that's okay because you'll just add them here to the pan and they'll just get all combined together. So in the end, it should look kind of just mixed up like this. So I'm going to wash my hands off again. One thing I always do before I get started, and maybe I should have done this to begin, but one of the biggest things I always do is I fill one side. If you are lucky enough to have a split kitchen or split sink, one side, preferably the non-disposal side, I always fill up with hot soapy water before I begin cooking anything because you always need hot soapy water, whether it's washing your hands or just throwing stuff in once it's dirty, like I'm doing right now. It just makes cleanup in life so much easier. So thank you, Mom, because I know she'll be watching this later. Thank you, Mom, for that little bit of tip, because it's just been a lifesaver. So I'm turning my oven back on. We're going to do medium again. You know, just kind of get it back up. You'll see a little bit of your leftover coconut oil from before, kind of. It might have hardened up a bit, but it'll start softening. And then once that's heated, I'm going to add, it's already heated up, so I'm going to add that to my pan. Just kind of chop up the meat a bit. And then just kind of saute it around until it kind of turns brown and gets cooked through. So while that cooks, I'm going to go ahead and cut up my tomato because this is going to be added as a addition, like an add-on. So I've already washed mine off, and I'm just going to go ahead and cut it. It is so juicy and delicious. Love the heirloom tomatoes. If you've never had an heirloom tomato before, you're missing out. So they're not, sometimes the non-heirloom, kind of like the ones on a vine, can get kind of mealy. They're not really flavorful. They're kind of bland. That's the nice thing about the heirloom tomatoes and them coming back, is that they offer a richer, kind of deeper flavor, and they've got fun colors. I mean, this one's purple. It's purple tomato. Cool.
I know when you first picked it up, I thought you were lifting up your avocado.
No, it's a tomato.
You're really lucky to get those this time of year.
I know. They're from Mexico, but they're organic. So thank you, Whole Foods. Kimberly knows I am not the queen of preparation because about 30 minutes to an hour before this aired, I had to make a run to the store because I did not go food shopping yesterday. So. Definitely flying by the seat of my pants. So the tomato, you're just going to kind of rough chop, do whatever you want. It can be sliced, it can be sliced. You can do whatever you want with it. So I'm only using half of my tomato because I don't need a whole tomato. So I'm going to have that. And then I'm going to check on my meat. And again, just kind of stir it up a little bit more. Make sure it's cooking through.
Yeah, and with the lentils and walnuts, all you have to do is heat it up. So since the lentils were already cooked,
yep.
Then you just want
and
it to be...
How do you prefer to cook your lentils? Like, what is your method for cooking lentils?
I just boil them. So you rinse them and sort them, pull out any debris or rocks that are in them, and then put them in a pot with, I used a cup of lentils and about 3 cups of water, and then I boiled them, bring it to a boil, and then take it down to a simmer covered for about half an hour.
Okay.
Or, until they're soft.
Okay.
One of the biggest mistakes people make when they're cooking legumes from scratch is that they don't cook them long enough.
Okay.
So, they should be fairly soft so you can digest them easily and not break your teeth.
And if you are in the mood, you really want to get ahead, go ahead and cut your avocado. So the way to do this, just in case you've never, if you were like me 2 years ago and had never touched an avocado, had never eaten an avocado, thought they were icky, which I do not know what the heck was wrong with me back then, but changed my life, avocados. What you'll do is you will take them, hold one in your left hand, or if you're right-handed, hold it in your left hand, vice versa if you're left-handed. And you're just going to cut around. So start from the top, and you'll cut through, and then you'll feel something. That is the avocado seed, nut, you know, whatever. And you will just cut around like this, making sure to move your hand before you move the knife. Otherwise, you'll cut your hand. And then just kind of go around in a circle and connect back up to where you had the original cut. Okay? And then from there, what you'll do is you will twist. So one side goes one way, another side goes the other way, and you just twist. And then you'll have something that looks beautiful like this. Beautiful. So if you need to use both sides, I only need to use one side, but if you need to use both sides, what you will do, Kimberly, are you using both sides of your avocado?
Yeah.
If you want to show how to get the seed out, because I don't want to take this out since I want to save this for you.
Oh, I already did it. But do you have a trick? Because I just kind of use my finger and pop it out. Do you have a fancy way to do it?
You can use a spoon. You can just kind of scoop around it and pop it out. I've seen it done before where you can take your knife, put it in, like kind of put it in with force and then pull it out. I've never been successful that way. So I just take a spoon and kind of work my way around it and pop it out. But the reason I'm keeping this in right now is because I'm not going to use this side of the avocado. And for some reason, avocado flesh stays greener when it's connected to the seed. So, or if you put lime juice on it. But I want to use this for another recipe at another time, or just to eat it straight, which can be done, and I've been known to do. So I'm not going to remove the seed for right now. But that's just a good rule of thumb. If you don't need to use a whole avocado, just use the side that does not have the seed stuck in it and go from there. And then you can just saran wrap it and put it in your fridge and you're good. So then moving on to take the side that you are going to use, once you've cut it and remove the seed, I like to take my knife. You can use a butter knife too. It doesn't have to be a sharp knife. And I just score it like so and make a few little cuts down the middle. And this is if you want slices. If you want to dice your avocado, you will then go and do it the other way. So juxtaposed to or perpendicular to the ones that you just did. And then you'll take a spoon like so, take a spoon, and scoop around the edges. And the next thing you know, you'll have some pretty cool slices that come out. So that's just a note. That is how you can get some slices or get some dices out of your avocado. So, Kimberly, how are you doing?
Good. I'm all set.
Okay. So now what I'm going to do is my meat is done. I'm going to remove it from the flame. It smells amazing. That's part of the reason I love this dish is it just smells really good too. And if you've got your lettuce soaking, I like to take a paper towel and just kind of put it on top of my colander to kind of absorb anything that's left because I don't really want soggy water everywhere. It's going to be messy enough. You don't need water on top of it to kind of be going everywhere. So I'm going to take my lettuce leaf like so. Kind of lay it out of it. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my meat. So this is what my meat looks like. And take just a little bit of it. You don't have to take a lot. Trust me, a little bit goes a long way on this, especially because you're going to have avocado, you're going to have tomatoes, you're going to have a lot of stuff. And then what you're going to do is take some of your tomatoes, put those on top. Hopefully everyone can see what I'm doing. And then take some of your avocados, put that on top. And then what else I like to do, you can also, if you eat cheese, you can put a little cheese on top of this, just like you would a taco. You could put some pico on this. You could put some guac on this, which that's really good. And then what my husband likes to do, and what I have done on occasion, is we use. It's a sign that we have lived in New Orleans using Crystal brand hot sauce. The ingredients are just cayenne peppers, distilled vinegar, and salt. So super safe, really clean ingredients. And from Louisiana, Metairie to be exact. And we put some hot sauce on this. I don't know why. I mean, my husband just got the idea to do it one day, and I actually ended up doing it as well, and I really like it. So if you like a little bit of spice, it's good. You can put red pepper flakes on it. So this is what it looks like. I'm going to hold this up since that's what it looks like. Super.
Beautiful. Look at this. And then I'll put my avocados on. Oh, what's that?
What does yours look like? You have to see.
I still have to put my avocado on. I went to the fridge and got some salsa to go ahead and put on mine. So let's see if I can do it so you can see. I'm actually, the lentils are lighter than the ground beef.
Okay.
And so I probably have a little bit more on my plate. And then I'm also using a whole avocado instead of half. Because I need this to get me through some yoga classes, and it's going to be a while until dinner. So just kind of be aware of the components of your food. So lentils compared to beef, you know, there's not going to be any fat in there. So I feel okay going ahead and adding more avocado to my dish. There you go.
Hers is like, okay, now the only comment I have with that is, I want to see you roll that up, Kimberly.
Yeah, I'm not going to roll it up. I'm going to use a knife and a fork. Well, one thing, I have braces, so I can't like pick something up and bite it anyway. So there will be no rolling.
Know your limitations.
That's right.
So I have like wrapped mine up. It is not pretty. This is not going to be an attractive meal. This is a get down and dirty. You need something to fill you up. Like Kimberly, she needs something that's going to get her through hours of yoga. This is the thing that's going to do it. It's going to give you the protein, it's going to give you the fat, you've got some good fiber, you've got some awesome, you know, veggies thrown in there. It's just a really good, quick meal. And you can't complain about not having enough time, because I think what time is it right now? It's 10:33. We started at 10, and I think most of the time it was talking. So it literally was like a 10 to 15 minute meal, not even. And so what I'll do is, this is going to make about 3 boats, and that'll be enough to get me to dinner. So, yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and try mine, because I just am having a problem like looking at it and not wanting to eat it. So.
I know, I already took a bite. It's really good.
It's really good. So, and again, not pretty, but it's delicious.
It's not a first date dish.
This is not an impress your mother-in-law or impress guests dish. This is hey, it's 6 o'clock at night. I need to know what to make, and I don't feel like cooking. This is the dish to make. So that's it. As you can tell, it is not it's not a lot. You can really have a lot of fun with this. You can do a lot of different things with it. You can cook with a lot of different proteins. You're not limited to just beef or to just lentils. I mean, you can do a ton of different things with it. You can do fish. I've done this with shrimp before, where I actually took the hot sauce and marinated it with that and coconut oil, salt and pepper, and then just did the exact same thing, but had it with shrimp instead. So the options and the ways to kind of change this are endless, and can really work with whatever you've got in your kitchen. So you don't have to go out to the grocery store and get something last minute. But yeah, so that is all for this week. Kimberly, what are we going to look at next week?
Next week, we're nearing the end of our Sugar Savvy Challenge. So we're going to celebrate and make some cupcakes. So the cupcakes are made with coconut sugar, and so, you know, it's level 1 appropriate, but if you're level 2 and you want to celebrate on the second to last day, then I'll leave that up to you. But they're beet and kale cupcakes. So they're not too sweet, and they have some alternative ingredients. I thought it sounded very strange, but I needed to make the cupcakes in order to take some photos last year for Independent, and my whole family was really surprised, and they were really good. And they're actually red tinged a little bit because of the beets, and so it's perfect for Valentine's Day. So
sounds like a red velvet cupcake.
Yeah, a very alternative red velvet cupcake.
Well, I'm excited to try that.